Hello, I'm Dr. Cheryl Harmon, and I am the Program Director for Centerpoint Education Solutions, and very excited about the opportunity to speak at South by Southwest. And just want to tell you a little bit about myself and kind of what has brought me to this journey of where I am right now. I'm a fourth generation educator. It's our family business. It's what we've done. It's been our life. My mom is a veteran educator of 42 years in the classroom in inner city public schools in Atlanta. And I'll tell you, just starting out, as a child, I had no desire to be a teacher, did not think it was something that I ever wanted to be part of because I saw the struggles my mom endured as an educator and all she did for her students. And I was like, no, I want to make some money. I don't necessarily want to be a teacher. But she told me, she's like, you're going to be a teacher. It's who you are. You can't help it. You're going to be a teacher. And admittedly, I fought against it, but as I got older and started working with students and kind of progressed in my own educational journey, I could see that transition to it. And, watching my mom as an educator, watching the sacrifices she made in her classroom. And as I mentioned, she was an inner city educator with during the 80s and 90s with struggling students. And it was nothing for me to come home from a day of school and see another child sitting at the kitchen table and like, mom, what's going on? What happened? And some kind of trauma would have happened with the student, and she just couldn't let the child go to emergency foster care. So we were always, our house was always full with other students, with other children who were going through things. My mom sacrificed a lot. I saw a lot of our own household budget being used to support the needs and build the resources in her classroom. There, you go to the little restaurant and they give you the little coloring sheet. My mom would ask for 25 of them each and every time we went. And I just saw that that was her. That was her work. That was her life's work. That was her mission. And she kind of passed that torch on to me with the expectation that I would carry it further. And for me, my upbringing was also my public school setting was inner city public schools, graduating from an inner city high school in Atlanta, that it was 100% African American, in no SES, all of those type of challenges, and was awarded a full scholarship, full academic scholarship to an elite university. And I know that I left my high school feeling like I knew it all, and that's not unique to many high school students, but I felt like I was ready and prepared for college until I walked into college and was hit with professors who didn't have the same shared experience, didn't look like me. No one, professors, classmates, no one looked like me. No one had the same shared experience as me. And the struggle I had to kind of feel that I belonged to it. The experiences that were shared, the examples that were used in classrooms were not something that I could connect to. So I had to work twice as hard to gain the understanding that I felt like my students, that my classmates came in knowing. There the struggle in that, like building those, figuring that piece out of it, all of that framed my teaching. Also having professors, say things like, you're here on one of those Black scholarships. And I can remember when Black students weren't allowed at this university, and how that again made me feel that I didn't belong, or I couldn't, at 18, 19 years old, maybe I wasn't as smart as I thought I was, or maybe I didn't have those skills. Maybe I don't belong. This isn't for me. And college became something to endure, to get through. I knew that I had to maintain this scholarship because there was no other way for me to get through college if I didn't. So I endured and excelled and succeeded. But my reflection on my college experience is not a great one, other than it forming for me what type of teacher I would be and what I would take to my classroom. So, going fast forward a couple of years, became a classroom teacher, started teaching at 21 years old, high school English. And, what I immediately learned is that I love teaching students who needed me, students who were struggling, students who had not seen academic success throughout their entire career as students and had really kind of turned away from schools. Those were my babies, those were my targets. And I learned that what I had to do was figure out what it is they needed, what made them teach, what made them tick as students, Where is it? Where can I get in? And for me, early on, I formed the philosophy of my philosophy of education is that it was my job to figure out how my students learn, not their job to figure out how I teach. And so for that, that meant finding those resources, finding those ends that made those connections for which students could anchor their learning and anchor their understanding. And I did not see that in the curriculum that was put forth with me. So I had to supplement. I had to figure out how to make a connection with Shakespeare and Tupac. I had to figure out how to make those connections for students to see that this learning, what they were learning mattered to them and mattered to their future. It was something they wanted to know and learn more about. And once I could get that in, the growth that I saw in students always did more for me than I think I ever did for any of my students. And that, once as a classroom teacher, having those experiences and seeing again those lights come back on for students who essentially were lost and had given up on education and were just there because they had no other choice, made me want to expand my reach, go beyond the classroom, knowing that there were more than the students I was impacting, I was meeting right there. There were more students with these experiences. So that fostered my love, my passion for curriculum and resources and understanding why it's essential to student learning, to all students, to have a culturally responsive, a culturally reflective curriculum, so that students see themselves in what they're learning and see others and develop that empathy, develop those skills so that they can be lifetime learners and have college and career success. So again, I appreciate the opportunity to share. I look forward to meeting you all and having this shared experience at South by Southwest. So thank you so much for your consideration.